Tonight, Delta State government says massive investment in infrastructure remains central to driving economic growth. State government to introduce barcode verification scheme for commercial vehicles to strengthen security. President Bola Tinubu directs Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission to investigate major tech companies and generative artificial intelligence platforms. And abroad, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky renews appeal for stronger military support from NATO allies. A very good evening to you. Welcome to the Delta Television Main News. You can also follow our news online on Facebook and YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or you can visit our website at www.dbsasaba.com. Joy Uche is my name. Thank you for joining us. The state government has said massive investment in infrastructure as well as peace and security remains central to driving industrialization and economic growth in the state through the MORE agenda. The secretary to the state government, Dr. Kingsley Emo, stated this while receiving a delegation from NNPC Exploration and Production Limited on a courtesy visit to the office of the SSG, Asaba. Sam Sohojite reports.
Dr. Emu said Governor Borewori administration has recorded significant milestones in infrastructural development, including the construction of the 149 kilometers Ugele-Asaba-Dua carriageway, the establishment of the Delta State Security Trust Fund, and the planned deployment of 50 compressed natural gas CNG buses to improve transportation. The SSG noted that the state's infrastructure drive is being complemented by enhanced security measures, including resolutions reached at the recent State Security Summit, an effort to strengthen security architecture across the 25 local government areas. He urged NNPC ENP Limited to be prudent in its operations, support the revitalization of the nation's refineries, and partner with the government in promoting socio-economic development.
They should focus on how to manage the micro challenges. There's no human being here whose birthplace is federal government. You're in the local government. And there's no person whose birthplace is state. It's from local government within that state. And therefore, we should carry out a holistic intervention and the management of the funds of local government.
Earlier, the Business Services Executive Director of the NNPC ENP Limited, Mr. Tosin Olakigbe, who represented the Managing Director, Mr. Nicotis Fokat, said the visit was to deepen collaboration with the Delta State government and host communities to promote sustainable growth in the oil and gas sector. He said the partnership will support the shared vision of President Bola Tinubu and Governor Sheriff Borewori of ensuring uninterrupted oil and gas production. Sams Opojite reporting.
Thank you very much.
The Delta State House of Assembly has adopted the report of its Committee on Public Accounts on the 2025 Auditor General's report on the accounts of the Delta State government. The House also screened and confirmed Mr. Ogodo Emokimiovo Moses as a member of the Delta State Executive Council. Favor Okafor reports.
Presenting the report, Chairman of the House Committee on Public Accounts and member representing Okwe constituency, Honorable James Ogoye, outlined the committee's observations, findings, and recommendations on the 2025 Auditor General's report.
It's of the opinion that in line with its clarifications, the financial statements gave the true and fair view of the state government financial activities for the year ended 31st December 2025.
Following the presentation, the House considered the report after a motion moved by the Leader of the House, Honorable Emeka Nwobi, and seconded by the member representing Ndokwa West constituency, Honorable Charles Emetulu. Honorable Ogoye explained key aspects of the report, stressing the need for accountability, transparency, and strict compliance with financial regulations in the management of public funds. Contributing to the debate, lawmakers commended the committee's work and described its recommendations as essential to strengthening financial discipline and good governance in the state.
There was also reported that the state borrowed 2.2 billion naira for a loan. They were able to establish, if you look at the report before you, there's an attachment where it took time to look at all the documents, and we found out that the state actually did not borrow.
The Speaker, the Right Honorable Emomotimi Gwor, put the report to a voice vote and it was unanimously adopted. He also commended the committee for a job well done. Earlier, the House, sitting as a committee of the whole, screened Mr. Ogoda Moses for appointment as a member of the State Executive Council. The nominee was confirmed by a voice vote, after which the Speaker congratulated him and urged him to serve diligently, uphold accountability, and support the implementation of Governor Sheriff Oborowori's MORE agenda. Favor Okafor reporting.
The State Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information, Mr. Charles Onyango, has urged the organized private sector to move beyond discussions at the forthcoming Delta Investment and Economic Summit and invest actively in the state's economy. Addressing newsmen in Asaba, Mr. Onyango encouraged local businesses to form partnerships and pool resources to invest in key sectors such as agriculture and oil and gas. He said the summit should lead to concrete investments, job creation, and stronger indigenous participation rather than end with presentations alone. The Commissioner expressed confidence that closer collaboration between government and the private sector would unlock Delta State's economic potential and attract sustainable investments. The state government has introduced a QR code barcode verification scheme for commercial vehicles as part of efforts to improve security and strengthen the regulation of the transport sector. The Directorate of Transport has engaged Widel Innovative Limited to implement the scheme, which will cover the registration, onboarding, coding, data collection, and verification of commercial vehicles operating across the state. A government statement says the initiative is aimed at ensuring proper identification of commercial vehicles, enhancing public safety, and promoting a more efficient and well-regulated transportation system. The statement directs commercial vehicle operators directed to obtain the approved QR code barcode verification without delay, while members of the public are advised to patronize only vehicles displaying the approved verification code. It says enforcement of the QR code barcode verification scheme will begin on Monday, July 13, 2026, while urging all stakeholders to comply with the directive and support efforts to improve security and transportation services across Delta State. Residents of Delta State have been urged to investigate and verify ownership before purchasing any land to avoid falling victim to fraudulent transactions and prolonged legal disputes. The Special Advisor to the Governor on Peace Building and Conflict Resolution, Chief Edwin Uzo, gave advice while mediating in a land dispute involving the Cooperative Society of the Governor's Office and the Information Cooperative Society. Henry Onogwa reports.
Chief Uzo said the dispute arose from a petition by the Cooperative Society of the Governor's Office, which alleged that a parcel of land it purchased in 2018 had been encroached upon by other persons, including members of the Information Cooperative Society. He explained that, in line with the state government's commitment to sustaining peace and resolving disputes through dialogue, all parties were invited to a reconciliation meeting where they, through their legal representatives, presented their respective positions. He noted that the engagement helped to clarify key issues surrounding the ownership of the disputed land. The special advisor said both cooperative societies have been directed to return to the original vendor to agree on a convenient date for a joint inspection of the property, during which all parties would identify the exact portions of land sold to each cooperative. The exercise would provide the basis for a fair, transparent, and lasting resolution of the dispute.
Decided to bring all of them together today. So we brought them together, and the coast is a bit clear. We've asked them to go back to the vendor who sold to them so that they can agree on the date all of us will meet, so that they will be able to show that who sold here and who sell here. But we keep advising that people should not be reselling. Once you sell, you need to resell again. And buyers too should be very careful. Make investigation, find out when before you involve money.
Chief Uzo cautioned land vendors against the illegal practice of selling the same parcel of land to multiple buyers, describing the trend as a major cause of avoidable conflict. The meeting ended on a positive note, with both the Cooperative Society of the Governor's Office and the Information Cooperative Society commending the state government for its prompt intervention and commitment to peaceful conflict resolution. Earlier, through their legal representatives, both parties had presented their cases and expressed appreciation to the government for providing a platform for dialogue and amicable settlement of the dispute. Henry Onogwa reporting.
President Bola Tinubu has directed the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, to investigate major technology companies and generative artificial intelligence platforms over allegations of anti-competitive practices and the exploitation of news content belonging to Nigerian media organizations. The directive followed a petition submitted by the Nigerian Press Organization, which raised concerns about the impacts of global digital platforms on sustainability of the nation's media industry. According to the FCCPC, the investigation will focus on allegations of market dominance, anti-competitive conduct, and the unauthorized use of copyrighted news articles, broadcast materials, and other journalistic content for the training and development of AI models. The Commission said it would conduct a transparent and evidence-based inquiry, giving all parties a fair opportunity to present their positions before any conclusions are reached. The FCCPC noted that another area of concern is the alleged lack of fair commercial arrangements between global technology companies and the Nigerian news publishers. The Commission said the probe would determine whether any of the practices violate the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act and other relevant laws while ensuring fairness within Nigeria's digital system. President Bola Tinubu has commended the Nigerian Army for its role in safeguarding the nation's sovereignty and promoting peace, stability, and security within Nigeria and across Africa. Represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima at the grand finale of the Nigerian Army Day celebration in Port Harcourt, President Tinubu described the Army as a formidable force with a legacy of courage, professionalism, and operational excellence. The President pledged continued federal government support for the modernization of the Army, improved troop welfare, and acquisition of advanced capabilities to address emerging security threats. He also praised ongoing efforts in indigenous defense production, intelligence sharing, and the integration of emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence, into military operations. In his remarks, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Y.D. Shaibu said the Army would sustain its modernization drive through improved capabilities, equipment renewal, infrastructure development, and the deployment of advanced operational platforms. The event featured a military parade, tactical demonstrations, equipment displays, and exhibitions of indigenous military innovations. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Joash Amopitan, has said the commission is committed to ensuring a corruption-free 2027 general election and restoring public confidence in the electoral process. Speaking at an anti-corruption workshop for INEC staff in Abuja, he said, credible elections remain the foundation of democracy and commended the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, for partnering with the Commission to promote integrity among election officials. ICPC Chairman Dr. Musa Adamu said corruption remains a major challenge to national development and expressed confidence that the collaboration would strengthen the conduct of free, fair, and credible elections in Nigeria. And still to come on the Delta Television main news. Still to come on the Delta Television main news, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky renews appeal for stronger military support from NATO allies. Details of this and more shortly. Stay with us. Thank you for staying on. If you're just joining us, you are watching the Delta Television main news. I'm going straight to the foreign scene. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has renewed his appeal for stronger military support from NATO allies, calling for the urgent supply of advanced air defense systems to protect the country from escalating Russian missile attacks. Speaking at the NATO summit in Ankara, Turkey, Zelensky said recent Russian strikes on Kyiv, which killed more than 50 civilians, underscore the need for greater international support. He described the attacks as acts of desperation and urged allies to increase pressure on Russia to embrace a dignified peace process. The Ukrainian leader is also expected to meet with United States President Donald Trump on the sidelines of the summits to seek additional military assistance and reinforce Ukraine's call for sustained international backing. Meanwhile, Russia said it has intercepted hundreds of Ukrainian drones targeting Moscow overnight as Ukraine continues long-range attacks on Russian military and energy facilities. The strikes have reportedly disrupted fuel supplies in parts of Russia. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has urged member states to step up support for Ukraine, saying the country needs additional military assistance to defend its sovereignty and maintain momentum on the battlefield. Despite recent successes with drone operations, Ukraine continues to face growing challenges in countering Russia's ballistic missiles. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, said filling stations across the country have reduced the pump price of petrol by up to 125 naira per litre in the last 3 weeks. IPMAN National President Abubakar Maigandi said the reduction followed repeated cuts in the ex-depot price of petrol by Dangote Refinery and agreements reached with marketers and depot owners. According to him, petrol now sells for between 1,155 naira and 1,299 naira per litre in many filling stations, down from about 1,340 naira. Mr. Maiganda said fuel prices are expected to decline further, noting that stakeholders assured the federal government and Nigerians of their commitment to cost-reflective pricing as crude oil prices continue to ease. Governor Sheriff Oboriwori has congratulated former Senator representing Delta South Senatorial District, Senator James Manager, on his 66th birthday, describing him as a distinguished statesman whose contributions have impacted the development of the state and the nation. In a goodwill message through his chief press secretary, Festus Ahon, Governor Oboriwori commended Senator Manager's commitment to democratic governance, peace, and public service, noting that the former lawmaker's political career had been marked by experience, loyalty, courage, and dedication to the welfare of the people. The governor said Senator Manager's contributions to legislative governance and the socio-economic growth of the state remained noteworthy. He prayed for good health, wisdom, strength, and many more years of fruitful service to humanity. The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Emomotimi Dennis-Quo, has congratulated former Senator James Manager on his 66th birthday. In a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Nkem Weke, the Speaker described Senator Manager as an institution of legislative excellence and a pillar of Delta politics. Right Honorable Guo praised the former lawmaker's 20 years of distinguished service in the National Assembly, noting that his contributions to lawmaking, constituency development, and political mentorship have left a lasting impact on Delta State, the Niger Delta, and Nigeria. He prayed for God to grant Senator Manager good health, wisdom, and many more years of impactful leadership. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, DESOPADIC, Chief Festus Ochonogo, has also congratulated the Chairman of the Commission's Governing Board, John Nani, on his birthday anniversary. Chief Ochonogo described the Chairman as a visionary and unifying leader whose leadership has strengthened the Commission's operations and contributed to progress in oil-producing communities across the state. In a statement issued on behalf of the board, management, and staff of DESOPADIC, Chief Ochonogo commended the chairman for promoting harmony among members of the governing board, executive directors, and ethnic nationality representatives, noting that the collaboration had supported achievements in infrastructure development, community empowerment, and institutional reforms, earning the Commission's recognition from host communities and sister agencies. He prayed for God's continued guidance, good health, and wisdom for the chairman, saying his service remains a source of inspiration for good governance and development within the DESOPADIC and Delta states. That's our news. Up next is the thought for the day. In times of hardship and adversity, it is natural to feel overwhelmed or disheartened by challenges. However, it is crucial to remember that tough times are often temporary and they pave way for better days ahead. Just before we go, here are the highlights of the news. The state government has said massive investment in infrastructure as well as peace and security remains central to driving industrialization and economic growth in the state through the More agenda. Secretary to the state government, Dr. Kingsley Emo, stated this while receiving a delegation from NNPC Exploration and Production Limited, Sonakatsa visit to the office of the SSG in Asaba. The state government has introduced a QR code barcode verification scheme for commercial vehicles as part of efforts to improve security and strengthen regulation of the transport sector. We also reported that President Bola Tinubu has directed the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, to investigate major technology companies and generative artificial intelligence platforms over allegations of anti-competitive practices and the exploitation of news content belonging to Nigerian media organizations. And from abroad, we did report that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has renewed his appeal for stronger military support from NATO allies, calling for the urgent supply of advanced air defense systems to protect the country from escalating Russian missile attacks. That's our news. You can also follow our news online on Facebook at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, also on YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or you can visit our website at www.dbsasaba.com. On behalf of the entire news crew, Joy Ochei is my name. Thank you for watching. Good night.